so that we can, so that for people that won't be part of the class. Okay, that's good.
I'm
Okay,
doing that
so
already.
we are getting to class immediately, and I'll start by sharing my screen so that we just start from where we stopped the last time. I don't know. We can have some responses via chat. I don't know if you are able to practice some of the things we did last time. We can make use of the chat today to make it easier. Um, if you are able to practice some of the things we did, some of these things you get to understand them better by you practicing, by you practicing them, getting your hands dirty, and that is when it becomes part of you. It's not just about coming to class, learn, and then just keep it somewhere. But it's you coming to class, you learning, then after you have learned, you go back and then you're able to practice it. Please, you can drop on the chat if you had time to practice at all what we have done last week. Maybe just a thumbs up or anything if you're able to practice anything, or if you have concerns. Um, Maybe based on when you are trying to practice, if there are challenges that you face, you want us to look into it quickly before we jump into it, so that it won't just be that, oh, we are just learning and there is no feedback. It's important. It's not about you finishing the syllabus, it's about you being able to apply some of those things that you have learned, right? um I've not seen any response. I've not seen any response. I just want to confirm if you're able to practice any of the things we did last week. Oh, okay. Barnabas is just joining today. That's fine. If you are just joining today, there is no problem. We have a previous video that you can watch, but this class will also be able to accommodate new people, so you won't be lost at all. You won't be lost at all. Be rest assured that you won't be lost at all in this class. You won't be lost at all in this class. Okay, so um, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let me pick the let me share my screen. So, okay, so let's continue where we stopped the last time. Um, we talked about what SQL is. We said SQL is used to manipulate or access uh, records in a database. We moved to talking about that, and then we were able to write some queries. And don't forget, last week, um, I was able to take you to working on some. So we made use of this URL last time, SQL .com. I said you can access it via your phone, or you access it via your laptop, so that here you can be able to now practice whatever that you are working on. During the last class, I made us to understand that um, there's what is called a database, and a database can have multiple tables in them, right? So the example of the database that we are making use of is called hospital database, right? And then this hospital has some tables, right, that we used last week and we are going to continue to use today. Those tables are patients table, admissions table, doctors, province underscore names, and what have you. So you can have some database that can have one table, or they can have multiple tables. And what I also made you to understand last time is that some of these tables, they are interrelated with one another, right? So you have a table called patients, you have a table called doctors, and you have another table called admission, and then province underscore names. So there is a relationship that is built, right, between these tables, so that you can be able to join them together and be able to get your information. And I said at advanced level, some of the reasons why this is done is that the reason why they split these tables, or the record in these tables into different tables, is what the process called normalization, right? So eventually you get to understand that, because if you keep all the records in a single table, a table will become so big and it will be cumbersome to work on, right? But you breaking them into pieces or into individual objects, then you can be able to get uh fast access to those records. So those are some of the reasons why that is done. So, and I made you to understand that SQL language is mostly English-like. That means most times you have to write statements, right, to query your database and to get your information out. And then I told you that there is this is a keyword, right? Select is a keyword, and asterisk. Then you can see from example of a table, you pick your table and you say patience, right? So this will give you an output. And I told you that, okay, this table has about 4,030 records. So select asterisk from patients, which means that select all from patients is just saying that select all the records from the table called patients, and it's going to give you everything. And now, as an SQL expert, or somebody that wants to get information from the database or from the tables, the next thing you begin to do is to now begin to get those information out based on the request that you have been given, right? And I told you that when you want to do anything on the database, most times they will tell you, the person that is going to make a request can say, oh, I want to know patients that are born after, let's say, or that are 20 years old. So it's now left to you as an SQL expert to be able to look and say, okay, how can I get those kind of information out? Now, you may be looking at it that, oh, you can use Excel for this, maybe because it's 4,000 records. What happens when you have about 2 million, 10 million, or billions of records? Excel will not be able to handle that. And that's why a database come into use, right? So, and we made use of and say, okay, instead of us saying we want to select all the columns, right? We can decide to say we want to select specific column, and that's why you can pick based on what you are seeing. Select first name, you can say select last name, and then don't forget your keyword from, then you put your table, and then you're able to get your records out. All right. Okay, so you're able to get this record out, and then you can say, somebody can say, no, based on this information, I want to get information of people in a particular city called Hamilton. I want to know the number of patients from there. So you continue and you say select all from patients where, right, city equals Hamilton. And don't forget, there is something I will try here because I mentioned it the last time. You need to also ensure that your spellings are correct. If your spellings are not correct, you will not get any record. You can see it say no rule display. All right. I don't know if anybody can know why, because there's a city called Hamilton here, but I've written this query, but I couldn't get a response. You can drop it on the chat. Please look at this query I've written. Let me run this again. Look at this. Look at this. You can see there is a city called Hamilton, right? But I've executed this query and it's saying no record, no rules to display. Can anybody just drop it on the chat? Can you drop it on the chat? You can say it, can open unmute your mic to tell me why that is happening. Why are we getting that error? Why is it saying no rules to display? Don't forget, as an SQL expert, you need to ensure that you give right information, right? So the administrator of the hospital knows that there are patients from our meeting, but because there are a lot of records, so he has told you that, oh, help me to get the list of patients from from this table, and is not able to get it. Oh, that's good. Abib has been able to answer us, right? The reason is because this is small letter. So the next thing is that once you put this as a capital letter and you execute this, then you are going to get those records out. You can imagine, out of 4,000 records in this table, you would have told the administrator, based on you writing a wrong script, that there are no patients from Hamilton, whereas we have over 1,938 patients from that. So we need to ensure that we get our information right. But again, uh the next question you can ask me is that this is now a big problem, right? So that means I must know exactly what of if somebody, maybe somebody decide to write a meeting here with capital M. How will I handle this? Will I have to be looking into about 1 million or 2 million record to know the right format? Because I'm meeting this and I'm meeting with small cap, they're also referencing a meeting. Maybe when the person was inputting record as input or inputted a wrong record or something like that, right? So in this class, we begin to look at how we can be able to write queries that will consider whatever, all these kind of maybe discrepancies in entering the record. Okay, so we talk about it and we said we can use where clause to filter, right? And I said that when you use this where clause, what happens is that when you put equals to, which is an operator, that means you are referencing only one parameter. You can only pass one parameter. You cannot say equals this and equals let's say and equals array. Right? So when you run this, it's going to give you an error, right? Can you say it's a syntax error? This is not the way to do it. Can anybody remind me what to use instead of equals to when you want to reference multiple records? If you can help me, I want to reference multiple record. Which operator am I going to use? I want to know people from Barre and people from Hamilton. Can you help me to drop it on the chat, or you can say it? Which operator can I use in this situation? Which operator can I use? Good. I'm going to use in. All right. So I'm going to put in here. Then I'm going to do what? I'm going to quote it. And when I quote it and I run it, I'm able to do what? I'm able to get it out. Do you understand? So I'm able to get information for people in Barre and what? And Hamilton. Right? So we have said this and we say, okay, I also want to know, right? I want to know the range of people. I want to know the height of people, right? That I can see 156, I can see 194, but I want to know people that their height is between 160 and 180. Those are the people I want to know, you know. Now, let me, how do you think I can get that? Which operator am I going to use to do that? If you can drop it on the chart, select asterisk from patients. I want to know, yeah, I want to, because I'm buying a new bed and I want to be able to ensure that maybe if the heights are within the range, I can buy this particular size, you know. Can we look at that? Select asterisk from patients. Which operator can I use? You know, if I want to check range. I'm listening, please. You can drop it on the chat. Which operator am I going to use? I want to check the range. I want to check the range, you know. I want to see people that their age, okay, maybe it's either 180 or 160. Oh, I'm going to use between. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to use between, which means that I'm going to say where I'm going to look at that and say height, right? Height between what? Between, don't forget, there's something you need to know about between, is that, let's see, let me do this so that you understand what I want to say. Between this and, let's say, 160, right? So when you run it, right? When you run it, yeah, you can see that. Don't forget, when you use between, the upper and the lower band will be part of your output, right? You can see that this 145 is also part of our output. So it's going to give you those between that range. So you can see these are the ways you interact with your database, and then you're able to get your information out. Very important, very important. So I've done that just to play around some of the things we did last week. And don't forget, I also said that you can also order, you can also order your record, right? It's important, you want to put things in a descending order or ascending order. I can say order by what? First name, because we like to arrange things. We want people to be arranged alphabetically. And you say, okay, order by name. And you say, okay, I don't want to do that alone. And order by can have multiple columns. That means, yes, I've ordered it, right? But Based on what I know, next meet should come before Ogawa, right? So that means I can also order what? I can also order last name. I'll say comma what? Last underscore name. Then I'm going to order this again. And don't forget, I've said that by default, when you don't put any clause, it order in ascending order, right? So I can decide to say, no, I want to order this in a descending order, right? I want in a descending, oh, it's not going to be here, sorry. So I want to order in a descending order, right? And I'm going to do this. Please, if you are following the class, just give me a thumbs up on the chat so that I will know that I'm not speaking to myself. Please, it's important. Just a thumbs up. Are you following the class? If you have questions, don't wait until we finish. You can also drop it on the chat. Let's make use of the chat. You know, it's important. Thumbs up if you are following the class. You can, and if you have any question, you can raise your hand so that we'll do that. You can see, so we have been able to do this to order heat, right? It's important. And I also mentioned, yeah, last time, I don't know whether we delve into it properly, but we talk about and or operator. You know, and means that the and versus or operator, the and operator displays a record if all the conditions are true. I think we should be aware of this. If all the conditions are true, you know, you make use of and operator, and that is what we want to check now. And or operator, because it's important, because there may be reasons why you have to combine multiple things together. So let's go back to our practice and let's say I want to get information. I want to get, somebody is saying, give me detailed information. I want to get a report of patients that are from Hamilton and their male. So that's why you put something like select all from patients where, right, gender equals what? Don't forget, because M is a character, it's a string, you have to quote it, where gender equals M. So for me, I take my query one after the other. You know, I don't need to write everything first. Okay, I have 2,000 that are male. The next question is saying, and they are what? And they are, and city equals Hamilton. What's wrong with Hamilton? Hamilton. Then when I run this, can I get my output? Yes. You can see, because of the and, I'm able to do what? Don't forget, look at this record. For hand, I got how many records? I got 1032. Now, I said all for when you use and, all the two conditions must be true. Now, when you use or, any of the conditions must be true. Sorry. So when you put or, now let's see whether we're going to get the same output or not. Can you see? We got more output, right? Now you will see where the issue may be. Now you will see female. Can you see female there now? Can you see F here? Right? Just because you use or. So you need to listen to the person that is giving you instruction. What exactly do they want you to get? Get me record of people, of patients that are from Hamilton and they are male. That means the two conditions must be true, right? But if somebody say, give me the list of people, of patients that are from Hamilton, right? Whether they are male or female, I don't care, right? So you know that you can use or you may not even put that. So I'm just saying that that is where or and they are very important. Hope you guys are understanding or you are following. If you have questions, don't forget to drop it on the chat. I'm just doing this for us to go back and understand what we have done the last time. Now, that's about SQL or operator, right? And these are examples of that here. Then again, something is very important. Parenthesis is very important. I know some of us that we decided to run away from mathematics class in those days, we are back to it again. We talk about the rule of BODMAS, sorry, BODMAS, BODMAS. Also that rule comes into play in SQL operator. Now, and that's why important. This example that is there, we need to also look at it very well. That even when we are talking about the or that we are talking about, right? The or and the and that we are talking about, the way we position or we make use of our operators is also very important. And it's critical that we also look at that in this part of the class. That when you want to check people and say select from patients, right? And you say where 50, okay, let's say where province underscore ID, province underscore ID equals ON, or gender equals M. And you can use and or all together, and let's say height is greater than let's say 40. Now let's look for this output. So we have a lot of them that are within this range, right? A lot of them are within this range. Don't forget, I want you to look at this. And I know why I'm saying this. So when you look at this number of records, you have 4,428 records within this range. Now, when you introduce parentheses, then you will see that there will be a difference in your output. So when you look at here, you can introduce parentheses here where you can introduce parentheses here, and let's see what will happen. Can you see now that the record has changed? So you can see that the output now is 44381. Now, what has happened is that it will first consider the bracket, right? First consider the output within the bracket, province underscore ID and gender. So this will be executed first. Right? And the output of here will be combined with the output of here. That's what it means. But if you didn't put this, if you did not put this, then this and this can you see now? So this and this will be executed first. So you can understand. I'm not saying without, when you remove this bracket here and you remove this from here and you run this, you are going to get the same thing even without the bracket. Why? Because of the BODMAS rule, right? Because and is the what was that? And is a multiplication, and will come before or, right? So, which is important for us to understand that. Okay. So if you are following the class, I need thumbs up so that we know we can move on. We can move on. And if I'm rushing, let me know so that I can work at your speed. Or if you have questions, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. Okay, so the next thing we'll talk about here is called pattern matching. Pattern matching. This is very critical. And I want us to take our time to understand this part of pattern matching. Pattern matching using the like operator. Like operator. This is being used a lot. Like operator. Like operator is used a lot. And then it's important for us to take our time to understand how it is used. Use the like operator to perform wildcard search of valid search string values. Now, for example, you don't have so much information. You have a little information that is not enough or is not exact. Then that's when you use something like operator. And you say, okay, I'm looking for somebody that the name has or starts with A, right? You can use a wildcard operator, sorry, wildcard search for something like that. Or you are looking for patients that their name starts with D, or a patient that their second, maybe somebody just mentioned that, I think the name is D, did something, I'm not sure. Then the next thing for you is what you need to do is to make use of wildcard operator, and that is like wildcard operator, and that is like. So let's get there. And don't forget, you have learned a lot of your script before. It's just to begin to build on what you have learned before, and that is you going to say select all from patients. And somebody is saying, please, I know the name. I want to, maybe if I see those that start with D, then I will know the exact name. Then you can say, okay, let me write a query. Then you go and you say first where first underscore name, like, right? Like, oh, you see D, then percentage, then you run. Now, this is we are learning. But later on, when you get to an environment, production environment, or this query can become resource intensive, right? But again, there are ways you can use it, but it's just for you to, because there are situations where you just need to get this information out. You can see now that it has been able to give us people that their name starts with D, that their first name starts with D, right? Maybe the person say, I think it's D or something, but I don't know. So what you can do again is to do what? Is to add O to this, right? And to run. You can see we have more records. Sorry, we have records, not more records, but we have a streamlined records now at this point. And let's see something, because it's important. Let's see something, and let's see whether if we put D like this, whether it's going to help us. Okay, yeah, it's able to still give us this for like operator. And don't forget the other time when we use the other one was case sensitive, but this is able to give us even when the case is not the same. So this is an example of it. Or maybe you said, I'm looking for maybe anyone that has something like Mike, MIC, right? No, anywhere it is in the statement, anywhere it is. I don't know, but I've seen Mike somewhere. I think the name has Mike. Okay, so what you will do is to put percent in front and back. Then you run it. And when you run it, you're going to get it out, right? So you can see it's giving you this information, right? So this is what this one is going to give you, and again, if you know that, oh, so maybe you're able to know that it ends with son, but I'm not sure. I think the last name end with son. Last name end with son. Last underscore name. It ends with son, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but let's try. Let's try. Let's try. I'm not sure. Yeah, just but because you can find yourself in this kind of situation. I know maybe you just edit somewhere. You can see the last name now. Because I know that, yeah, there is son. I think the son is Jackson or Nesson or Dyson. I know it's son, but I don't know. Do you understand? So that is where the like operator comes into place. You can use it to search. Maybe you don't have the full information, you have part of the information, then you can use that to do whatever that you are doing. And don't forget, your vocabulary is increasing. You can also say, let me say, but the person I'm looking for is a male. So you're going to say gender equals what? Hem. Then when you run this again, it's streamlining your output. And you say, not only that is a male, I know it's from Hamilton. Yes, it's from Hamilton. You're going to do what? You're going to say, and again, city equals Hamilton, right? So when you run this again, so this is you taking it one step at a time, and you begin to get your output out, right? So these are the things I want you to understand, that you taking it, just break a complex problem, right? A complex statement that somebody wants you to get, break it down one step at a time. And by you doing that, you will be able to get to the root and be able to deliver the answer to whatever they have requested from you, right? Hope you guys are following the class. The good thing is that there is internet. You can be able to go around and play with some of them. There is also escape, but there's no need for me to disturb you at this point to do that. I don't want to bombard you with so much, right? Some of these things, there are other complexity that comes in, but you just start with understanding how to use it from the basics. Then you can begin to become an advanced user of it. Then now, arithmetic expression. I've said it, we can't run away from mathematics. You can also do some mathematics with your statement, right? You can create expression with numbers and data by using arithmetic operator. Maybe somebody is asking you and say, I made a mistake. Maybe let's go. Where arithmetic operation is saying is that I made a mistake when I was inputting the height. Most of those heights are, maybe I want to reduce those heights, let's say by 2. I want to minus 2 from those heights. I want to get an information. I think there was a typo error when they were inputting it, or when they were calculating it, right? Or maybe I can't remember. Okay, it's not okay. Wait, yes, BMI. What is BMI? I think there's a formula for BMI. BMI is who knows the formula for BMI? Okay, but let me do this first. Maybe they said they want to calculate the BMI based on that is weight divided by height times 100 or so. I can't remember. Please, if you know the formula for BMI, you can drop it on the chart for me. I can't remember. For BMI. Okay, but let's see. Let's see an example. Please, I'm waiting for your response. If you know the formula for BMI, so that I won't say what I'm not so sure of. Let us say from patients. So I just want to give you a scenario of where you can use that. So now you want to say, let's say first underscore name, comma last underscore name, comma height. And somebody is saying, I want to know the BMI of all the patients. Weight, comma. Okay, it seems nobody is willing to tell me BMI calculation. Calculation. Okay. BMI is weight in kilogram, weight over height. Okay, weight over height. So don't let us go too far. Let's just do weight over height. So you can come here and say weight divided by height, right? To check the BMI. Let's just assume this square. Okay, there is square. Let's just assume this one. Let's just assume this one at this stage. You know, then as BMI, you can get your formula right eventually. So when you run this, oh, what's the value? Weight 60. Oh, height is more. Hold on. Why are these 0? Give me a second. Let me see why they're 0. But let me do multiplication first. Okay, let's do it other way around. So let's say height. I'm wondering why that's happening. Height. Okay. So because that value is 0. Okay. But what I'm actually saying in essence is that you can do some mathematical operations on them. You can instead say plus, right? So based on your record, you can be able to decide and say, okay, I want to get that information. Or somebody is saying that, oh, I want to get height plus 2, right? So there are different things you can do from here to be able to get those information out. You can see that you're able to get another column, and then you're able to get some values out from here. Or there are some other situations whereby you can do that. So I just want you to get familiar with you understanding how the operator work. You can use the same operator. You have been using it in your mathematics expression. So which is very important for you to get to understand, right? It's very important for you to get to understand. So the next thing is talking about that. That's arithmetic operations, right? So you can make use of that. And this is an example that I've done here. And I said operator precedence. You must take note of Bodmer's rule in the usage of operators. You must make use of that. And then below is an example of scripts. You can say I plus this times this, and then you're able to get an output. So it's a lot of things that you can do, and you can be asked different questions. And then by the time you ask questions, you begin to think how you can be able to interpret whatever questions you have been asked, and then you're able to get something out of it. So that's important. So that's about that. Please let me know whether you are following. Let me know if you are following. Let me know if you are following. I need a response. I need a response. You can just an expression. Let me know whether you are following. And when if you have any question, okay, if you have any question, please let me know. If you have any question, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, so yeah, there's something that's important that I want us to know, uh, take away from this class, and that is what is called a null value. A null value. A null value. You will see this a lot when you start working with uh, tables or records in the database. A null value, and that's why I've taken my time to explain what a null value is here. A null value is a value that is unavailable, right? It's not zero. A null value is a value that is unavailable, it is unassigned, it is unknown, or is inapplicable. You don't know what that value is, and that's why it is called a null value. So you can't say a null value is zero. No, you don't know the value of a null value, right? So it's important for you to understand that part. A null value is a value that is unavailable. We have not been able to, it was not defined, so you can't assume the value for it. So it's important for you to know that. And null is not the same as zero or a blank space. Arithmetic expression containing null value evaluates to null. When you multiply null by 100, it gives you null. It will not give you zero. Now, you may say, when you multiply 0 by 1 million will give you 0. But when you add 100 to 0, to give you 100. But when you add 100 plus null, it will give you null. So we need to understand the difference. And what it means is that at this time, the value for null, the value in that particular column has not been assigned. So it is null. It is not zero. It can be assigned later. So, 0 is a value. And that's what you need to understand. 0 is what? Is a value. And 0 or 1, they are almost in the same range. But null is not in the range of zeros. So I want you to understand that perfectly. And then when you look at here, you will see that some are null, right? Because it is null. Because today you may not have an allergy, right? Tomorrow you may have an allergy. So once you have an allergy, your record will be updated. That's what it means. At this time, we don't have an allergy for this patient, so it's going to be null. But once maybe something happened, and then we discover that there's an allergy for this person, then we are going to make that allergy and then we update it. So that is what it means when we are saying a null value. So let's go back to our practice session and let's look at our record and say select asterisk from patients. Select asterisk from patients. And when you run this, right, when you look at here, you will see that this is null, right? But some have this, right? Now, we need to know how to work with null. It's important. When you say you cannot work with null the same way you are working with other records. And working with null is what we need to learn here. So when you say select asterisk from, okay, let's see allergies, and let's say what's the value in the column. Maybe let's start with, let's say sulfur, right? When we go to this, you say sulfur, and when you run this, you will see people that have these allergies. So what happened? Select asterisk from patients. Oh, what did I do wrong here? Can anybody help me? Okay, I will help myself. So this one should be where, right? So when you see a syntax error, you need to look closely and see where you have made a mistake, and then you correct it. Okay, so you can see for this situation. Now, and don't forget, let's go back. When we go back here and we run again, there is what we are looking for now is null. Let's see. Let's see whether, let's put null. Is there no rows to display? In truth, is there no row to display? Right? There are rows to display. What we need to know is that you don't treat null as the way you treat other records. So for you to access null, what you will do is that you will say where allergy is null. I've told you null is a special candidate. So this is how to reference null, right? So when you run this, this will be what? Can you see now? We now have about 2059 that are null. That is how to reference null, you know. Then you can use this null alongside every other and say, and let's say gender, you know, you can also combine other things with it. So if you want to reference a null, you won't use equals to for null because null is unassigned, is inapplicable, is unknown, right? So you reference null as a special candidate. Now, we need to understand that about null. So when you are writing your query, you need to know that there is a special candidate when you are not getting your records or you are not getting the output you are thinking you're supposed to get. Then you need to look at null. You being able to manage null the way you're supposed to do, right? So that's about null, right? Hope we understand that. Hope we are understanding and we are following the class, right? So after that, after you have talked, we have discussed about null, there's what we call defining a column alias. Alias is very important. Alias is very important because now you can be able to, it gives you the opportunity, SQL gives the opportunity to say, I want to redefine, I want to give a column heading, you know, maybe you look at this column heading that I'm seeing, it's not descriptive enough, right? Or I don't like the format. Just select asterisk from patients. I don't like the format. It doesn't look good. When I do my report, uh, I don't like the way the format is looking, right? Uh, uh, for example, my first name is small letter. I don't want it to be small letter, right? I want it to be capital letter, right? You know, there are different things you want to have. You know, all these ones are small letters. No, I don't want it to be that way. Then that is where your alias come into use. He said a column alias renames a column heading. You can rename a column heading. It's useful with calculations. You know, when we calculated BMI or what have you that we did that time, we needed to give it an heading, right? Because instead it will give you a formula which when somebody is looking at it, it will say, what is this? Right? Immediately follows the column name. After you have written it, you can put it behind after a column name. And this is also important. It said requires double quotation mark or single quotation mark if it contains special character. I'm going to show you all these that I've been talking about so that you can understand and you can follow as much as possible. They are going to become very handy with time, when you begin to do it. Don't forget, this class comes with practicing. You need to practice. There's nobody that will open your head and put it. There are many things you will learn by you practicing them, right? And this is a skill that requires practicing. Okay, so when you look at it now, I was talking about alias and I said, I want to say first underscore name. Hmm? Now, I want it to be first. No, I'm not using capital letter, but what I even want to do first is that I want to change it to say, why is it coming? What's your problem? So I want to say, okay, first name, right? Come, I want to change it, and I want it to look better and say last underscore name, then from patient. Now you can when you look at this output now, it's going to change. You can see that this is now capital letter. This is now capital letter, right? Now that is one. I can optionally add as, it's optionally. That's why I say it's optional. Without it, it will work. With it, it's going to work. All right. So this can also give me the same thing, right? But I don't want to put underscore, right? Let me see what will happen if I remove underscore. I want it to be, why is this one then? Because this is a keyword. That is where the problem is here. Yeah. So okay. So since it's a keyword, it's giving me a problem. But I don't want to treat it as a keyword. So what I would do is to quote it as I mentioned in that statement and say, okay, because there's going to be a space, right? It's not going to. So for you to have it this way, you need to quote it, right? And then you run it again. When you run it, can you see now? You're able to, space, empty space is a special character. For you to accommodate an empty space, you need to do what? You need to put it in a double quote, right? And then you are going to get this your output out, right? And this is what I was saying here, that when you look at this and when you run this, without BMI, let's remove this alias here. Without this here, when you run this, you can see the heading. Somebody is looking, what is height plus 2? Somebody will say, what this? Management doesn't want to hear what is height plus 2. Give me something that makes sense, that I can relate with. And that's why you can say BMI. Oh, sorry. That's why you can say BMI. Then you run it, then it's going to give you that. So this is very important. Using an alias is going to help you to format your output very well. It's not going to change your output, but just formatting it and making it to be presentable, So that's important. That's important. Don't forget the ground rule. If you have questions, you can drop it on the chat, and I'm looking at the chat as soon as possible. I don't want us to go. It's not about how much we are able to cover, but it's how much we're able to understand. And that's what is important in this class, being able to apply whatever that we have been able to learn, taking it one step at a time. So, and that's what I've done here, right? So, and if you want it to be case sensitive, you make use of that. Now, something else that is also important that we need to learn is concatenation operator. We are talking about operator. Now, what is concatenation operator? Somebody is saying, I want to link columns together. I want to get the names. Give me the names of patients. He's not saying give me first name and last name. He's saying give me first name and last name together, right? So you need something to join them together. And that's where a concatenation operator comes into place, right? A concatenation operation enables you to join more columns, to join columns together. And let's get to it. I've told you it's about practical. Let's get to it and say, oh, Tayo, give me a report. I want to see the names, both their first name and last name. I want them to be in a single column. Right. So what you will do, don't forget, is to say select first name, Okay, let's do it and say last name. Right now, what we want to do now is to concatenate them. Right, and don't forget I said you can concatenate using either you use double bar, right? You use double bar to concatenate, or you use concat function. We will talk about functions. Maybe this class is ending in the next 1 hour, so we still have some time to talk about function before we end today's class. So that we have something that you can go and play with, so that for the next in the Christmas period, and then by the time we resume the next session next year, I think so. I don't let me talk about the next class now. All right, so let's talk about concatenation. So you say select this and you say first name, right? Then you put double bar, space, double bar, right? And then you say what? Last name from patients, right? So when you run this, so when you run this, sorry, it's just double bar. So when you run this, can you see now that it has been able to do what? Join them together, right? But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Do not water feed. These are two names. What it has done is to just join them together, but to somebody that is looking at it, it won't make sense. So the next thing you can do is that, okay, and that's why we need to put an empty space, right? So you join another thing, you introduce this, and you say space this. And when you run it now, it's going to separate it for you. Can you see now? There's a space in between there now. I think this makes sense better. So this is how you can be able to concatenate, right? You can be able to concatenate as many as you want. You can concatenate as many as you want. You can also concatenate it with their allergies, with their allergies, with their allergies. So this is how a concatenation operator works, right? You can see you're able to you see you see the problem with this now. You see, no is a very funny. I don't know. You see, even with concatenation, no, you can't do anything with no. No is saying I am no. Don't do anything you do with me. I will still give you no. Do you understand? So you can see what no has done for us again. You have to be very careful. Introducing this no is saying that this person doesn't even is no. You know, by you, by you. How can one use SQL to calculate formula like this? Okay, you want to use SQL to do everything? No, now, no. So if you can interpret it yourself, interpret it, and then you write your query. If your stuff can, I'm looking at the chart. I'm looking at the chart, and then I'm seeing somebody want to use SQL to calculate almighty formula. SQL is not here to solve the whole of your problem for you, right? So solve some of your problem yourself. But once you can be able to convert it into a statement, once you can be able to use your this thing together, then you'll be able to use any formula that you want. But there are some formulas that are complex that you may not be able to accommodate in some of the things you do. So you need to understand that. So this is concatenation, right? Concatenation, this is an example. And I also mentioned that there's also a concat function. Let me just divert into that now. A concat function can also do the same thing. What a function will do, we'll get there in a bit, is that a function accepts some arguments, right? And when you have those arguments, then you can pass them. You can say select concat. This is a reserved word, it's a function, concat. You say first name, then you put comma, separated by comma, last name. Then from patients, it's going to give you almost the same output. It's going to give you the same output. Oh, I've put dot here, right? So when you do this, it's going to give you similar output. Can you see? And then again, the same way, we put comma again, you quote so that you can what? You can introduce a space. Then you're going to get your output. Can you see? So you can use either ways. Either you use double bar or you use what? Or you use concat function. You're going to get almost the same output, the same output, the same output. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So let's move again. Let's move again. Let's relax. Let's relax a little bit. Let's do a class. Let's practice. Let's practice a little bit. Let's practice a little bit. Let's practice a little bit. Um, let's practice a little bit. Oh, I've shown what I want to show. Okay. Oh, okay, because I've written it before. Okay, that's fine. Let's move again. We'll practice later. Practice later. Okay, so that's about concat operator. Let me see your reaction. Are you following the class? If you have questions, please let me know. Let me have your response, please, so that we'll move ahead. Let me have your response, so we'll move ahead. Let me have your response. Let me have your response. Hope you are enjoying the class. Do you have concerns? Do you have questions? So that's about concat operator. Now, I think I just jumped ahead of myself, but it's good. Then we can be able to understand what a function is. I use double bar, right, for concatenating columns together. Now, and I also use concat, and I said concat is actually a function, right? So we have different kind of functions. We have single row function, and concat is an example of single row function that you can use. You can use it to manipulate data items. It accepts arguments and return one value. You can see that we brought in first name, we brought in last name, and we even brought in empty space, and it returned one value. Act on each row that is returned. It has acted on them. Return one result per row. The modified data type can be nested. When you say something can be nested, it can be inside another. You can nest it. You can first use a particular one on it. We're going to do that, what we call a nested function, right? And there's what we call, it can accept arguments that can be a column or an expression. So the good thing is that, please, this video is available online. You can also watch them again, because some of these things, because I'm saying a lot, you may not, there'll be a lot for you to come to grab. So I understand. So we have different kind of functions. We have functions on numbers and we have functions on character. You can, the one that we did earlier on is concat. We did it on character set, right? So you can have a lower, you can have your upper, you can have that. So we'll take some of these functions. Internet is there. Anything you want to do, you can put it on the internet and see if there are functions that have been written that can help you to solve that. But let's get our hands dirty so that we see some of these things and we see how we can make use of them. And why they are very important. Why they are very important. Let's go back. So let me see something first. Okay. Sorry. Still taking it through. Okay, good. Let me go back to my practice. Okay, so now let's see how functions that are available. Select asterisk from patients. Don't forget the last time we had an issue with our meeting, right? That we had to be sure exactly of the format, that, the capital letter, the first letter is capital letter, this is this is that. That is not effective enough. And that is why functions can help us to resolve some of these problems. Somebody is saying, I don't know the format, I don't know the way the cities got are stored in the table. So I want to just get people from Barry, right? And say where city equals Barry, right? And I put small letter, small letter. I can't get it. Okay, no problem. So that is when a function will help us to resolve the same problem. And what are we going to do? When you have, let's say, first name, right? You can introduce a function and say, I want the upper case of this, and you say upper, upper, upper of this, right? So it's going to give you the upper case of this. So it's not, now look at it. It's not converting what you store on the table. It's not converting it to upper letter, but what it's doing is that for your expression's sake, is changing it to upper letter. That is what it means. Then you can also have it as lower and say lower uh last name or first name again. Let's say first name, lower first name. Then when you run this, it's going to be this. Now, why is this important? Now, if you come to this Barry now, right, and you say, let's run this, we couldn't get an output. We will now come here and say, where this is lower, you convert this into lower so that you can be able to get whether it is small letter or it is this, it's going to convert this and map it to this. And you're able to get records, right? So that is what is going to help us in this scenario. So when you come here and you say select, I started from patients where city equals Hamilton, right? That you use this and you got 1,138 and you use this and you could not get, right? Now, to solve that problem, it's just for you to say, yeah, I've put small letter. I don't want to confuse myself because people can use different way of inserting record. So I will just put this and say lower, right? Then I will use this against this and I will be able to do what? Oh, what have I done now? No, oh, lower. Okay, I made a mistake here. So then putting this and running this, I'm able to get the output right. So that is where it is important, that is an example of what? An example of using your function to optimize your query to get your desired result. Now, I also mentioned something. I said it can be nested, right? A function can be nested. And I said, I want to maybe some people in some part of the world, whereby in those days that you fill form that you cannot take more than a particular number of character. If your name is more than 23 character, you can't fill it. You have to go and reduce your name. You understand? So you can say, I also want to know the length of, so there's also another function that can show you the number of character. Length, length, length can give you the number of characters, the number of character in a particular name, right? So you can say last underscore name, right? Then you run this. You may be wondering, are these important? They are very, very important, right? So you cannot say again, don't forget, I want to see the highest. Yeah, there are different ways you can see it, but don't forget we have order, right? You can say order by. Then don't forget that your order by also allow an expression, right? So you can also say order by this, right? So, because it's ascending. So you're going to say descending. Want to see the one that has the highest length. 16. Oh, okay. So 16 is the longest character length that we have for this, right? So you can play around it as much as possible, right? So, and that's why an example, right? And I also mentioned that there's a place of nesting it, nesting. So that means you can put this and say this is nest. That means you can have more than one. After oh, no, it's not going to work here. It's not going to work like this. So maybe for this one, yeah, for this one, you can now say, you can nest this and say length, length, length. Okay, so this is just to say that, oh, you can see, you can just nest. There are situations where you have to nest, you have to have multiple function on a particular column. So that's what nested function is about. Ability to do what? To nest, to be able to say apply multiple function on a particular column. So that's what that does for us. So that's an example of a function, right? That we need to understand. And there are also other functions that you can use on numbers, right? For example, somebody is saying, I want to get the maximum height, right? So that is select asterisk from patients. So there are functions that they have been written already for you, right? So you just leverage on those functions, So select asterisk from patients, and somebody is saying, I want the maximum height, You say select maximum, what? Maximum height, max height from patients is going to give you the max height, the maximum height. Wow. So the maximum height is 226, right? So you can also say, I want the minimum, max or the minimum, So I want to be able to know the minimum and the max. Maybe they want to plan, right? And say height. So when you run this, it's going to give you an output. Oh, I put max again. So it's going to give you out. Okay, so that's it. Um, so I want to, okay, so I want to come here. Okay. So I've told you the last time that this is a place where you can come into and just practice, right? And just practice. So let's look at the question. I think part of what we have done today, just for us to relax a little bit, part of what we have done today is this. It's saying show first name of patients that start with the letter C. So this is a question. Can we try and write it? Can we try and write a sample for us? Let's use it to relax, so before we continue, can we try and write it and let's see the output? You know, this is the question they have thrown to us. Say, okay, give me show first name. Oh, please, everybody, you can have access to this. It's just a free website. You can just go to anywhere you are, just write it. You can drop it on the chat just to see, so that it's not that Tayo is just talking since, just write. Let me see your answer. Let me see your answer, please. I'm not saying you should don't go and look for solution. Write it yourself. See if you're able to put things together. He's saying show first name of patients that start with letter C. Show first name of patients that start with letter C. Can we write that statement, please? Once you have written your own, you can drop it on the chat. Once you have written your own, you can drop it on the chat, please. Please, I'm waiting. Don't forget, learning SQL comes with practicing. You need to practice, you need to practice, you need to practice. You can assume you know it until when they give you to write. You will not realize that this is not, I'm not getting it. You understand? Please, I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you on the chat. Write your own and drop it on the chat. Write your own. Show first name of patients that start with the letter C. Show first name of patients that start with letter C. You know, even if you don't, you can, based on what I've explained, you should be able to just even write this. Show first name of patients that start with letter C. First name of patient that starts with letter C. I'm waiting. We still have some things to cover. We have a few minutes to go. I'm waiting for your response. I've not seen any response. Okay, I've seen one. I've seen one. I've seen one response. Okay, maybe with one response we can go so that we don't delay our time. The response I'm seeing is saying select. Please, it's very important for us to practice first name from patients, right? Where first underscore name, like, don't forget, you know, I told you that last time I don't want to be like those teachers that they will teach you something simple in class and they'll give you something that is complex. I've written something like this today, you know, like C, right? It's going to give us an output, you know. So that's it. Oh, it's even mark it for us. You can see this is a good thing. That's mark it for us. You got the query correct. You got the query correct, right? So that's it. So let's see another question. Let's see if we can have another question that we can work with. I think we have done something like this before. Okay, so let's see this. It says show first name and last name concatenated into one column to show their full name. Okay, so can we do that, please? Show first name and last name concatenated into one column to show their full name. You know, you can use two options here. You can use two options here. Show first name and last name concatenated into one column to show their full name. Let's see, please. Let's see, please. Let's see, please. After this, we have one more, then we'll continue our class. But it's good for us to practice. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's get our hands dirty, please. Don't forget, if you have questions, we are learning together. Let's ask questions. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm still response from only one person. I need a response from another, please. Let me be sure that we are learning something. Let me just be sure that we are learning something. I want space. Okay, they didn't put it there. Okay, they didn't put it there. They said show first name and last name concatenated into one column to show their full name. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Can somebody else help us? Okay, so that's it. So that's it. Let's write it. Let's write it. So it's just the same. Select last name. Sorry, first name by last name from patients. So we're just doing this just for us to understand that these are the way it's saying we missed it too. It says show first name and last name concatenated into one column to show their full name. To show their full name. We have missed what is they expecting? The question is not straightforward. sent to show their full name. Maybe it's expecting us to put space. Because this doesn't show us as full name, it's shown as a single name. But let's see whether that, oh, see, that's what they are expecting from us. The last time, they didn't indicate space, but they said we fail it. They felt we should be able to use our common sense, but they didn't know that common sense is not common. So they wanted us to use our common sense to know that when they say a full name, there should be a space in between them. So you can see, by the time I put a full space, we're able to get our answer correct, right? Okay, I think that's fine. Let's go back to our class. Let's get our hands dirty again. We'll soon be, yeah, we'll soon move, right? So, and don't forget, we can say, I want the average height. Somebody is saying, give me the average height. I want the average height of my patients. I know I have a lot of them, but I want the average height. Don't forget, function again, you pass your parameter, average height, right? You have your average height from what? From patients. You have your average height from patients. Oh, what's the average height? Wow, 157.78, right? Now, don't forget that there's also, this is clumsy for me. Clumsy. 174 this. Don't forget we have something that is called nested what? Nested. And I want it to two decimal place. I want it to two decimal place. Two decimal place. How can I do this? Right? Can somebody help me? I want this to two decimal place. There's another function called round. All right. I'm going to round it. And I'm going to put comma. This is now a nested function, round. So this is because when I use the length the other time, it doesn't make sense. But here it can make sense better. To say, I want it to be two decimal place, right? Then I run this. Can you see now? It's giving me something better. It's giving me 157.78. Or you can say you want it to what? One decimal place, right? It's going to give you this. Or I just want to round it up. I don't want anything. If you don't put any parameter, you just round it. You forget, remember our mathematics, 158. You want a whole number, it will round it for you, right? So that is an example of a nested function. A nested function, you have a function that has got for you average, right? But again, because the value looks somehow, I want to get a rounded figure. Some people say, what do you mean by somebody is, I don't know, 15 point something. I want a rounded figure. Then with your round, right, nesting average into your round, then you'll be able to get that out. Or you can say, I want to see the sum of the height. And don't forget, the average is actually the sum divided by the what? By the total, sorry, by the number, so by the count, it's going to give you that. So that's important, so you can be able to do that. Yeah, you can be able to do that. Then there is, yeah, you can be able to do that. So there are a lot of functions that you can work with as much as possible. Also, there's this function that we can also look at. Let's go back to this. There's also trunc, truncate values to a specified decimal. So you can say also on this same one, you don't want to use, you want to use trunc. I'm not sure this function works here. Okay, sorry. Now, we also need to understand, please. So SQL statement, this database that we're using here is, I think it's a Postgres database. There are some functions that may not be available here, right? That may be available in Oracle, may be available in SQL Server, may be available in Sybase. Now, once you put a function and it doesn't change this color for you, this function is not available here, right? In this particular database. So don't say it doesn't exist. It's just like in our own language, we don't have anything for this. Do you understand? So it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist somewhere else, right? So SQL is, some have flavor, of them. Like, in Nigeria, you have people speaking pidgin, all those kind of. So there are some things that may not be available, right? So that's what happens in this particular situation. So apologies. So this it's not that this when you go to SQL Server or Oracle database, you can make use of that function that I try to call now, but it's not available here. So in case you see somebody using it somewhere else, it's because the flavor that we are using here does not accept that. Does not accept that. Does not accept that. Wow, I think we have gone. We have gone. I don't want to go. Okay, yeah, we can. Now, so I think we can talk about SQL joins. We can talk about SQL joins. SQL joins. I think we are really moving fast today. SQL joins. Now, when we say joins, as the name implies, is to join tables together. And you will do that a lot. You will have reasons to join tables together because most times you have to work on multiple tables, and that is why something that you need to also have at the back of your mind is that a join clause is used to combine rows from two or more tables based on a related column between them. There must be a related column between them before you can join, right? So there must be something that you have on table A that you are trying to use to join with table B. And that is why tables that are stored in database have relationship with one another, right? They have relationship with one another. And that is what I was able to show you in the last class. When you come to this hospital database and you come here and you look at the schema, right? You can see patient has relationship with admission. Patient has relationship with what? With province name. Doctors have relationship with admission, right? You can have one doctor relating to many people on admission. So that's why you have one doctor, one-to-many relationship, right? So you can have patients that are what? On admission. But now, look at it. There are different tables. But the record, you can see that the record of this patient is actually stored here because admission date, when you look at here, there's no admission date. But somebody is saying, I want to see the patients and I want to see the admission dates. That means you have to what? Combine two tables together because this table does not have what? Does not store the admission date. In fact, you won't even be able to know the discharge date, whether the person has been discharged or not. So that is why this admission table is important, right? And that is why we need to understand joins. And joins enable you to join multiple tables together on related columns. Don't forget that part, related columns. So the first thing you need to do when it comes to join is for you to go and look and say, are they related? If they are related, then you can join them. Now, we have been able to establish from here that there is a relationship between patients and there is a relationship between patients and admission. And they are relating with each other on what? On a column called patient ID. Let me go back. There's patient ID here, there is patient ID here. So now let's go and let's see how we can be able to join the two tables together, right? For my document here, you can see I say select patient from this. This is the syntax. Join, this is the table name. This on, you need to put those columns that they are together. Now let's write it so that we understand what we are talking about. Okay. No, I'm not using Kotlin. So don't forget, see, for me, I like to first play around and say, okay, select asterisk from patients. Asterisk from patients. So yes, I'm able to see. Okay, I want to get, maybe what I want to get is that I want to get, let me also look for another table, select I started from admissions. Okay. Okay. So I can see admission date and I can see uh and I can see discharge date. Okay. So they said I should give them admission date and discharge date. And they also want me to give him what they were even diagnosed of. Okay. So what I will do is to say select. Now, because there are two tables now, I can't just say be saying select first name, right? I need to differentiate. I need to tell the database that, oh, this particular one that I'm writing is speaking from table patients. This one that I'm writing is speaking from table admission. So to start with, I want to get the first name. First name is in which table? Is in patients. So I will say patients dot first underscore name, comma, patients dot last underscore name, right? Okay. I want to get admission dates. I will say admissions dot admission date. Yes. I will say the next one. Admissions dot discharge date. Yes. I've got it to this extent. So these are the information that I want to get. I will now say from patients. If I run this, I will run into trouble. But let me run it so that you see I have a problem. He said no such column as admission dot date. Yes. So that is where join now come to place from patients. You now say join admissions. Join admissions. Yes. I told you writing queries one step at a time. Is it running or not running? It's running. It's confused. I've scattered the system. It's running. It's hanging. So you need to be careful. It's hanging. He said it's unresponsive. I've so if it is like in the production environment that you have run this now, everything will be hanging. So I've gone to write. It's confused now. I've shared. The system is. Please always be careful. But this is just a learning class. Always be careful of what you are writing now, because this is confusing. It has crashed my apologies. But I'm just showing you how some of these things could be, how terrible they can be if you are writing what you are not sure of from patients. And if you use all those applications that you say application is hanging, maybe somebody like you and me that have gone behind to go and write some of these funny queries. So when you begin to write SQL, please, some of your practice, don't do it on a production environment that can affect systems. Do it on a test environment. Okay, so unfortunately, I have to start all over again. So I will say patience, but I'm not going to do that. So I won't waste our time first. But that was done for you to see how writing some unoptimized uh, queries can affect your systems. Admissions dot admission underscore date, comma, admissions dot discharge date from patients join admission on. Then you need to put on the column you want to join. Patients. Don't forget that what join them together is patients underscore ID equals admissions dot patients underscore ID. So when you run this, it's going to give you that output that we are looking for. Can you see now? So we have been able to join two tables together. We have been able to join two tables together. Now, You can see, I don't know, Donald is a customer. Donald has come to this hospital twice, right? So you can see Donald was in this hospital 2018 11. He came back 2019 11. Sorry, 2018 09. So you're able to get some information. You understand? You're able to get some information, from, yeah, you're able to get some information. So now you're able to make meaning of this database you are talking about. It's not just you querying, it's just you being able to now be able to see, different things that has happened. You can be able to join table A with table B. Do you understand? Please, are you following this class? If you are following this class, let me see your response so that I'm not talking to myself. Let me see your response. Let me see your reaction, please. Let me see your reaction. Let me see your reaction. Let me see your reaction if you are following the class. Hope is interesting. Hope this class is interesting. Hope you are learning. I know there's a lot I've put together today. I think the best option for us is to go back and watch this video. We need to watch this video so that we can be able to learn. Some of you, all these things that I'm saying, they are handy. They are things I've used over time. They are things you will use, whether you like it or not. Once you start using SQL, you use them a lot. We have to join tables together. And you have to know the columns on which you can join tables together. But this looks cumbersome or looks clumsy. Sorry, it looks clumsy for me. So there's something else you can also do to get the same thing. Don't forget that we have something called alias. Alias, yes, if you remember. Now, all those things we've learned, they are now becoming handy now. I don't need patient start with P. I can say this one, I want my table patients to be P, as P, and then I want admission to be as A, right? So instead of that, I will change these patients. Anywhere I see patients, it will be what? It will be P, it will be P dot. I hope this one should allow. P dot, P dot. This one will be A dot. This one will be what? A dot. This is just to make it look better, look less clumsy. I think that's what we are doing. So this one. So that's why everything that we have learned, they become handy. You can see this one looks better. I hope it gives us the same output. Don't forget this one is 5067. Let's say that this one A dot. What's happening? Oh, okay. You see, I'm the one that created the problem for myself. This one is A. So when you see, don't panic. Just look at it closely, right? And you will be able to get this thing all coming. It's hanging again. Oh, I see where the problem is. This one is crashing again. Why am I writing P dot P again? I've scattered the system again. Okay, this one's supposed to be A. So I wonder why. Oh, why? Painful. But that's it, So let me just finish this. We're going to wrap up now. So I know some of us will be tired by now. It's expected. So let's just finish it. That is P dot first underscore name, P dot last underscore name, because you can't be writing it. You need to now also start learning to write as a pro. You don't just write when it's not clumsy for somebody to read. A dot admission underscore date, comma, A dot discharge underscore date from patients A during admissions A. What's happening? this P sha. So A on A dot or P dot patient ID equals A dot. Good. So let's try and run this. If you like, it should give us output. Okay, right. The same output 5067. So you can write it different ways, but for me, this one looks less clumsy, right? Okay, good. Look less clumsy, and then you're able to get. So this is how to be able to join tables together. There's also something that is important when it comes to join, but I'm not going to teach us today in this class, but I want you to be aware of because it's a little bit complex. It's not complex, but it's a little bit funny, right? So we have different types of join, right? We have four of them. But what you will use most of the time is actually inner join. Most of the ones that you use is inner join. There's inner join. It returns records that have matching values in both tables, right? It returns records that have matching values in both tables. There's left outer join. What left outer join does is that you have table A and table B. You are saying, I want to return all the record in table in the left table. I want to return all the record, whether they have matchings on the right table or not, right? We can do it. Let's see. Yeah, we can do it. I just want to explain to you. Yeah, we can do that. So that is what a left outer join will do for you. So it's going to say, just give me everything that is in on the right. Maybe there are patients, whether they have admission or they don't have admission. Give me all the patients, right? Then give me the record from the admission table, whether they have admission or not. So that's what that one is doing for you. Or there's another one saying right outer join. Please don't let this part confuse you. You may not even use it most of the time, but it's better you know it. When I was first taught for many years, I don't even use it. It confuses me, or it still confuses me up to now. But I just want you to be aware so that you won't say I didn't know about it. That's just it. Right outer join will return all the records on the right part of the table, on the right side of the table. What this one is saying in a nutshell is this: that when I use I have this record, right? And I say, let me put something like, I'm not sure whether, because I've not, let me say left join, R5067. Can you see now? So with left join, I don't see reaction. I don't know whether people are following me, but if it's important, what I'm trying to explain, I wish I can see the reaction of people to get to understand this part. Now, left join, right? Is saying that I want now. Okay, you will see now. I'm just looking for the best way for people to understand. Once you understand this, I'm telling you, you are becoming a pro. You are becoming a pro. I can assure you. Now, you can see. See, there are no null values here. Can you see? These are empty. Sorry, there are no null values. You see all of them having records, right? You can see all of them having records. Now, but I am saying that I noticed that there are some patients that their records are not showing here. It seems there are some patients that are registered, but they have never been admitted, right? I want to get that information. That is when this information, this left join come into place. So when you introduce this left join, it's going to give you that, right? You can see Mickey Bassa has never been admitted before. Can you see now? This is why this is no. And that's why left join is what can give you this kind of answer. Left join. We say, okay, you can see a lot of people they're just on the record, but they have not been admitted and they have never been discharged before. Can you see? So that is why this left join is important. This left join is very, very important, right? And that is what the right join will do for you also. So for the right join, all right, so you can use right join and the left join work the same way. So I'll just click. I'm not sure it's going to work here because I'm not sure how you will be admitted when you are not. I'm not sure it's going to work. It's not going to work. But how this can work so that we can learn together is that if I change this guy, this admission, I'll change it to become the. I'll change it now. I'll say admission comes here so that we learn and then we forget about it. Then I put patience there. We have few minutes to go. This class is about ending. I wish it's not ending. I know some people are saying this guy should just go. Don't worry. Can you see now? Okay. So you can see now. It has brought. Yeah, it has brought it. It has increased it actually. It has brought in more record for the right part. You can see now you have a lot of records for the right part. So that's just, you can see now, you now put all the other nodes. You will appreciate it when somebody give you a complex report to work on. So please, if you don't understand this part, apologies, don't worry. In future, when you need it, thank God this video will be online. You can go back to it. You will get confused in future about it, I'm sure. But when you are confused, go back to the video and watch it. And yeah, it's very important. It's very important. I think, let me see if there's something else we need to touch again today. Yeah, so I put the format for it, the format for right join, and that's all. So there are other things we learn when we come to the class in the next session. We're talking about group statement, we're talking about app. There are a lot of them we still need to learn, but with what you have learned today, if you're able to practice most of them, I know your knowledge skills should have improved. In fact, my own knowledge skill set has improved. There are many things I've also had to learn, because some years back, I learned some of these things. I've not been using them. I became rusty. By the time I have to prepare for the class or to put the slides together, I began to learn some things also. So it comes by practice, and I want you to practice. And I think for me, maybe at this juncture, we can put it a pause. And then, as usual, I want to get the feedback from the class. I know it's been over 1 hour, 30 minutes of talking, over 1 hour, 30 minutes of talking, talking to you guys, So you can open your mic now. I'm done for today's class. If you have
All
questions.
right, Tayo, rather. Thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
much. We've gone a lot since 12 p.m. And this
Yeah, yeah.
today's class is even more insightful. At least there are so
Oh,
many
good.
things to actually even learn, even bringing from previous knowledge from the previous class, and still
Oh,
adding
good.
more to what we need to understand today. So I
Oh,
really
good.
want to appreciate you. At least trying to
Thank you.
combine learning from the examples, the patterns, and every other thing. At least it's more to learn again today. So start writing our own query now and running SQL query now. Now let's for
Yeah,
us now to do.
yeah. So it's important. So yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good. It's all about practicing and practicing and practicing.
Exactly.
So you can also
Exactly. And
share
the
the video
practicing is the most
link.
important thing.
It's the most
Sure, I'll
important thing.
definitely do.
It's the most important thing. So from other people in the class, do we have feedback? Do we have feedback before we go? Are we able to learn anything today?
Please let's hear from 1 or 2%, please. What have you really learned today?
Have you learned anything new today?
I'm not getting much from Tola, Abigail, Barnabas, Blessing,
Okay, so for me,
Emma. Okay.
what I learned today is joining two columns. That I do that pretty much well on Excel. So when it came
Oh,
up here,
okay.
I'm like, okay, how is it gonna be done here? And like you mentioned, if you have millions of data you're working on, you can't. So you just need to use SQL, and it's a key thing I'm taking out from here. Joining two columns, like that first name column and the second name column. So it's perfect for me using that function contact here.
Okay.
All right. That's great. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
you.
Any other person before we end the class? Please don't forget that this video is available, online. The previous one is available. You can share it with
Yes, the
your friends. You
previous
can share
one.
it with your junior ones. There are people that are
Yes,
still in
even your
university or
colleagues at
secondary
work
schools.
also.
Yeah, let them learn. It's free, So, and this is also tutored to our own learning pattern. There are a lot of videos online, right? But this tutor is tutored to our own learning pattern in our own part of the world so that we understand,
Yes,
the way we talk
in
to
terms of
ourselves, the way we.
language, exactly.
Yes, you understand. So that's why this class can be very important. I know a lot of people. Yeah, so it's important. Okay, thank you very much for being part of this class.
All right,
When is
Tayo. So we still have 2 more sessions to go, right?
Yeah, we have 2 more sessions to go. Yes, 2 more sessions to go, and we are
Okay.
done. And I can assure
Okay.
you
All right.
that after the 2 more class, with what you have learned, there's no SQL, there's nothing else they will teach you in SQL that to some extent you are not aware of. It's now your expertise level, your expert level is now depend on you practicing. There's no
Same
SQL school that you go to that they will teach you anything different from what
from
you
what
have
you've
learned
learned.
after these 4 weeks.
Exactly.
If you are now found one thing, it's because you have no practice. Do you understand? It's because you have no practice.
Okay.
It's not because Tayo has not taught you. You understand?
Uh-huh.
Even that is a free class, you have been able to access enough knowledge that any SQL, there's no need for you to actually attend any other SQL school. That's the reality. But you can go and waste your money and attend another one. The only thing you can do is to practice. That is what you need.
Practice.
I can give you that assurance. Yeah, I can give you that assurance. Okay, so that's
Okay,
it
so
from my
Tayo,
end.
I'm trying to say something. If at the end of your class, can we get a part? Because we want to, it's not just coming to learn, but we like to make sure that everyone who has learned and who has participated from this class from the beginning, because I'm taking note of everyone who attended the class. So we're giving them a task to do. And maybe after completing that task, then they will get a certificate of completion to know that they actually understood. It's not just by attending the room, but by practicing
Okay,
what they.
sure. Sure, we can,
So maybe
of course,
at the end
we
of
can
the
have
class,
tasks that we can put together. Yes, we can have
yes,
tasks that we can
yes,
put together, and we
yes,
see people that
yes.
are able to do those tasks, and then at least we
So
have
after then, we
like
can issue
something
them
like
a
that.
certificate that if they attended this course and they're able to carry out, that this is the work they're able to do even during the course of attending the classes and every other thing.
No, that makes
So I
sense.
want
That
us
makes sense.
is it's not just coming to sit down for 4 sessions and at the end of the day, you're not really understanding or you cannot
Yeah,
even apart from the practice, then let us give them something that will just tax them and to show an evidence that during the process of learning, this is what I did. That
this
is
is
some
what
of
I
the
am able to
practicals
do.
I carried
Yeah.
out also. So we can issue them a certificate. So I want us to work
Okay, that's
towards
fine.
that, towards the last session. So just share
Okay.
together. Anyone who is able to complete it, anyone who the certificate of completion for this SQL course is very important because we've gone through a lot in doing the
Yeah,
course that are
sure.
not saying just learning and just going. At least with that
And just
certificate
go.
can actually boost to 1 or 2% CV or their skills and every other
Of
thing.
course.
And can even help
Of
them
course.
back the job also. And so
Of course.
let's just
Of course.
work on something like that also. So for our
Of course,
next
I
session,
agree.
we are looking towards next year. It won't be feasible for this year again.
Yeah. People need to
So
go on holiday.
yeah, yes, exactly. And so many activities are actually coming up now this period. So we don't want issues with that. Even today, we don't even have much people than even the previous class. First class we had a lot of people on the call, but
Oh
today
yes.
you can see we are struggling with even managing people on the call. So we just continue the next class next year, maybe by second week in
Yeah.
January. So we don't take long
Maybe
time.
no, we can do third week because second week there will still be a lot of activities. I'm just looking at it.
Okay,
Let's say Saturday,
okay.
the first Saturday will be 6th. Maybe the second Saturday will be 13. Yeah, 13 will be fine.
Yes,
13
yeah,
should be
that's what I'm
fine.
saying. Second week, yeah,
Yeah,
second.
13 will be fine. So we can look at 13. We can look at 13.
Yes, so we can just
Yeah,
do 13 and the following week. Then, the whole of January, they
yeah,
complete the course. They do a
yes.
task, then get a certification of completion. So we just do January to run that. That's what we just
Okay,
do.
that's good. That's good. So we can do that. So we
All
are looking
right.
at 13th and 20th January to complete the class. Don't
Yes,
forget,
yes,
get
exactly.
video out. Let people learn. Even if they are
Yes,
not in class, let them learn as
I'll
much as
definitely
possible.
upload on our YouTube page. Definitely. So
Okay.
at least the first one
Okay.
we have over 60 on the
Oh
first
yeah, I think
on the
so.
first video.
I think so.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
think so. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
everyone, for your
Okay.
time.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Tayo.
Yeah, it's good
I
to
really
have you all.
appreciate.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
everyone, for your
Okay.
time.
Bye.
So we'll fix
Yeah.
another time
Bye.
for next year. So enjoy the rest of the holiday and compliment of the
Yeah.
season once again. So the recorded
Yeah.
session will be shared on the platform as usual and to be shared on our YouTube page. So we want to encourage you to go there, subscribe, like, and watch also. All right. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the holiday and the rest of the weekend. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. All right. Bye.